Hey guys, what's going on? Wayne here. So look, recently here on Machine Heads, we did a deep dive on mini skid steers, or as they're also called, stand-on track loaders. And as we found out in that deep dive video, those machines are growing in popularity due to their ability to do 60 to 70% of what a traditional skid steer or CTL slash compact track loader can do. That would include digging, loading, carrying, and acting as a tool carrier, all while being able to fit into much smaller areas and through narrow openings. But there's another type of compact loader that's stealing share from skid steers and CTLs as well, the small articulated loader. Now, these machines originated in Europe, and they're hugely popular there thanks to their small size and big tool carrier versatility. Really, these machines were initially developed in the early 90s or so, and the kind of pioneer in this category is Avant Techno, which we'll discuss in a little bit. But these machines were really initially kind of developed for agricultural applications, and that's definitely the sector or the industry in Europe where these machines took off. But like the mini skid steer, the small articulated loader is quickly gaining traction here in North America as well. So let's talk about why that's happening, what you need to know about these machines before renting or purchasing one, and we'll take a look at some of the offerings from the major brands in this market. Let's dig in. So just to be clear, when we talk about small articulated loaders, SALs as we'll refer to them from here on out, we're not talking about compact wheel loaders. While SALs are like compact wheel loaders in that they are wheeled loaders with articulated steering, they're much smaller than compact wheel loaders. In fact, SALs are some of the smallest machines on the market with an operator seat. To be sure, SALs can do typical wheel loader stuff like digging, carrying, and loading, but they're intended to be more of a skid steer replacement than a compact wheel loader replacement. They really blur the lines between skid steer and the compact wheel loader categories, but they're definitely more skid steer than compact wheel loader in terms of how they get rolled out in an application. And like those stand-on mini skid steers we talked about earlier, SALs are designed to fit in narrow spots like sidewalks and backyards, between buildings, inside of barns, things like that. And like mini skid steers, SALs support numerous types of hydraulically driven attachments, everything from snow blowers, grapples, brushes, breakers, buckets, pallet forks, you name it. But unlike mini skid steers, which typically are tracked machines, SALs have wheels. Now, the smaller size of an SAL means that if you're looking to do a lot of jobs with a high volume of load and carry type work, and you really need to be able to move all those materials around as quickly as possible, and space constraints aren't really an issue, in those situations, the compact wheel loader is still going to be a much more suitable machine for you. But if you're looking for a machine with the comfort of a seated operator station that doesn't disturb turf or sensitive ground, and it can still be used with hundreds of attachments and get into tight spaces, well, the SAL could be the machine for you. Now, in the same way skid steers have wide appeal due to their small size, power, and tool carrier versatility, SALs are right at home in a wide range of applications. Now, earlier we mentioned that if moving a lot of stuff from point A to point B at a high speed is what you need a loader for, then most SALs still can't compete with the compact wheel loaders of the world just due to that smaller footprint, overall power, and capability. Some of the larger ones that we're going to take a look at, they really blur the lines even more than that. But you shouldn't look at an SAL's typically smaller size as a weakness. In fact, the small size of these machines is really the whole reason this segment exists in the first place. Now, because SALs are smaller, they can fit into even tighter spaces than a skid steer or a CTL. And not only that, they are lighter than skid steers, making them better suited for work on delicate surfaces. Now, this also means that they're easier on tires and fuel, and many can be transported on a trailer without a CDL. The smaller size also gives you better visibility than a skid steer and much easier entry and exit from the machine. But look, SALs aren't just small, they're nimble as well. Now, sure, the small size helps them get into small spaces, But it's that articulation joint that allows the rear tires of these machines to match the path of the front tires when you're turning. And that allows these machines to make very tight turns and navigate around obstacles with ease. Now, SALs are also known for their exceptional lift capacity when taking their small size, particularly their lightweight, into consideration. In fact, some of the larger SAL models that we're going to discuss shortly have tipping load capacities of nearly 8,000 pounds. That's a lot of capability in such a small size. Plus, you can even add optional counterweights to SALs to dial in an even more optimal lift capacity for your needs. Now, just to give you an idea of the size discrepancy between a compact wheel loader and an SAL, even the larger SALs are still about 30% lighter than a typical compact wheel loader. Even then, they still provide advantages over a skid steer that are very similar to those provided by compact wheel loaders. That means more lifting force, more lifting power, and higher hinge pin heights when comparing SALs to skid steers of equal horsepower. Now, augmenting the lifting and tool carrier capabilities of SALs are the available telescoping lift arms that a lot of these new SAL models are offering. Now, this not only extends your lifting height for pick-and-place jobs or high dumps, but it also adds the machine's horizontal attachment reach, making it a more versatile tool carrier. So look, no matter if you're in construction, landscaping, agriculture, or you just need a machine to perform more niche tasks like nursery care or tree and snow removal, an SAL really could be the tool you need to unlock extra efficiency and revenue. Okay, so look, now that you're well acquainted with what an SAL is and kind of what it's really engineered to do, let's talk about some of the available options on the market today. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at models from Avant, Bobcat, Case, and Vermeer. And we'll look at the models and sizes of each machine each brand offers, those models' capability. We'll discuss what types of customers each brand has in mind for their machines, and we're going to get an idea of what types of attachments that each of these brands' models can be used with. All right, we're going to start with Avant Techno. Now, Avant Techno is really the pioneer in this category. They not only created the concept of the SAL back in 1991, the company has played a big role in the increase in demand and attention to SALs here in North America. Now, the company is based in Finland and it entered the United States in 2012. And today they offer 15 different models of SAL. Now, these machines from Avant range from the very small 25 horsepower gas-powered Avant 220 with 772 pounds of lift capacity, all the way up to the 57 horsepower diesel-powered 860i with 4,190 pounds of lift capacity. Now, of the brands we're looking at today, Avant by far offers the most models, and the company sells this many different options because each model has its own benefits for particular applications and use cases. The 500 series is really the group of machines in the Avant lineup that the company says is by far the most popular of all Avant offerings. Now, of those three 500 series machines, the 528 in particular is the most popular thanks to its balance of price point and capability. The 528 weighs only 3,200 pounds and it has a tipping load of 2,100 pounds. Now, the 528 is also available with a heated cab. Its doors and windows are easily removable in the summer, and when it comes time to do snow removal in the winter months, you can quickly get them back into place. Customers wanting more hydraulic flow for attachments are really urged to give the 600 series machines from Avant a closer look. But the second most popular series of Avant machines in the United States are the 700 series models. Now, this is the point in the lineup where a Kohler 56 horsepower turbocharged diesel engine comes into play. Now, the 700 series is especially popular among pros in the tree care and removal industry as it performs capably as a small load and carry machine. Now, in all, Avant says its machines appeal primarily to U.S. customers doing tree care, snow removal, golf course maintenance, and municipality work. But obviously, as more and more attention is garnered to this type of machine, that stuff's going to change and the machines will kind of like spread into other sectors. And that's really one of the goals of Case, who we'll get into in just a little bit. Now, here in the US, Avant has also recently started selling the first units of the E527 model. Now, this is basically an electrified version of the very popular 528 model we just discussed. Now, the E527 is available with a 9 kilowatt hour onboard charger, and the machine is typically achieving about 5 hours of continuous runtime in load and carry applications. That's pretty typical in terms of these battery powered machines, anywhere from 5 to 6 hours. That's typically going to get you through a full 8-hour workday because Unlike diesel machines, these things don't idle when they're not in use. Now, when it comes to attachments, Avant offers more than 200 attachments. It's got one of the, if not the, kind of biggest library of available attachments for SALs. And now these attachments include common tools like bucket forks, brooms, and blades, but the company also offers a timber grab attachment, stump grinders, bucket brooms, log grabs, snow blowers, trenchers, power rakes, mulching heads, hedge cutters, edging tools, and a lot more. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Bobcat. Bobcat entered the SAL segment in 2020 with its L23 and L28 models. Now, Bobcat, their approach, they're really kind of taking their time with this segment. And they're using its initially small lineup of machines to really learn more about what its customers want out of these machines and how they're putting them to use. To me, Bobcat is one of the more interesting kind of entrants in this space because, as I said, they're kind of taking this a little slowly. They've got the smallest lineup of SALs that are available. There's only 2 models in this lineup, as we mentioned. And what's interesting to me about this, and obviously Case is in this position too, but for Bobcat, it's really interesting because this machine really kind of represents a threat to its core business, which is the skid steer and the compact track loader. But they've gone ahead and they've started introducing these machines and kind of getting them in the customer's hands about 4 or 5 years ago. And they're definitely still in kind of like the learning phase. They're really gearing them, whereas like the CTL and the skid steer are definitely like very like core construction industry equipment machines. These SALs are a little different. That's because Bobcat sees the SAL's low ground disturbance, the lightweight, as one of the primary advantages of this category. And really, so far, the company's customers agree. Bobcat says that most of the demand for these machines that it has seen so far since entering the segment back in 2020 has really been from customers working on sensitive surfaces. Grounds maintenance, lawn care, landscaping, tree care, and the like. Now, the 2 models that the company offers aren't the lightest on the market, but they're also not among the heaviest models. At 3,800 pounds and 4,200 pounds respectively, the L23 and L28 really sit right in that sweet spot of the market, right around where Avant's popular 528 model sits. These 2 Bobcat machines are very similar to one another. Both of them are 25 horsepower machines with roughly 3,000 pound tipping load capacities. The main difference is that the L28 has a telescopic lift arm, while the L23 does not. And with that telescopic lift arm, the L28 has up to 104 inches of lift height. That's 22% more than the L23's 85 inches. Both the L23 and L28 have modular cabs, meaning you can order the machine without a cab, and then you can add the door, windows, and heater later on if you decide to put the machine to work in the cold. The L23 and L28 also feature the Bobtach coupler, making them instantly compatible with more than 30 Bobcat attachments. And the machines can also be equipped with an optional power Bobtach system that allows you to change non-hydraulic attachments without having to leave the operator's seat. So the next brand up is Case. And after seeing Avant successfully import and translate the SAL to US customer needs, and then seeing Bobcat enter the fray in 2020, Case became the latest SAL market entrant in 2023. And while the company knew that the machine was already a perfect fit for landscapers, tree care pros, and grounds maintenance crews based on kind of like the success that Bobcat had seen with the L23 and L28 early on, Case also felt that it could create demand for SALs from construction customers as well. Now, Case saw that opportunity mainly because the company is seeing evidence in general that for the first time, North American customers have started to kind of understand or even kind of like believe in the sense that power doesn't always mean productivity. In many cases, versatility is the key to productivity. I would really argue that that kind of like change in sentiment goes all the way back to the economic downturn in 2008 when a lot of companies had to get really lean really quick. A lot of them kind of got rid of their maybe bloated fleets and kind of like got down to just a lot more manageable in terms of their kind of like static investment. And so then they also started relying more on rental and compact machines. And as you know, over the last 10 to 15 years, like compact machines have really kind of blown the top off of things. And really, versatility has definitely become the key to productivity. And Case wants its focus on versatility across sectors to be apparent in this SAL lineup itself. That's why the company sees its 8 available models as fitting into 3 different categories of machine: small frame, medium frame, and large frame, similar to skid steers. Now, before we get into each of these SAL size categories, It is worth noting that Case's design differs a little bit from those that you'll see from Avant and Bobcat. It's really kind of more subtle when you compare it to the Bobcat machine, but it is there. Now what you're going to notice is that really the Case machines have more of a roller skate-like profile to them because the operator is positioned more toward the back of the loader. Specifically, Case says that this design ensures that you'll always be able to see the tire profile when you're backing up or maneuvering, but also that as you're turning, both halves of the machine travel on the same path. In other machines, obviously in all SALs that roughly happens, but in other machines, kind of like the more kind of surface area that you have behind the operator, the more, I guess, junk in the trunk that these machines have. In those other machines, that position where the operator is kind of more toward the middle of the machine, and again, there's more surface area toward the back. If you put the operator right above the articulation point, that cab can really kind of swing out, which could cause inadvertent bumps or just time lost to having to remaneuver a turn. So Case feels really strongly that the better visibility and kind of like the increased maneuverability of this machine gives them a win in terms of design when you compare it to the other models. Now there are 4 small frame Case SAL models, each of them with a 25 horsepower Kubota engine. The smallest unit is the 2,400 pound SL12, and it not only comes in this kind of like base configuration, but it's also offered with a telescopic reach package. Case's lineup of models differs a bit from the rest of the machines as well that we're going to cover in this video, in that it doesn't offer a loader with capacity under 2,240 pounds. Some of these other companies, Avant, for instance, they have the widest range and the most models on the market. They offer a loader with 700 pounds of capacity. Case is really kind of focused on the really kind of the smaller end of their lineup would maybe be more of the sweet spot in the lineup for other models, that 25 horsepower type of machine. Now, of these small Case SALs, the 3,300 pound SL15 is notable in that this is the size of machine, or this is the model in the lineup where you start to get the option to put a cab on the machine. Like its peers, Case offers a glass cab enclosure with heat. Now, Case says each of these small frame SALs fit in very well on grounds maintenance environments like residential, golf courses, campuses, and in applications like snow removal where you might need to get the machine onto a sidewalk or in a smaller space like that. Another thing to note here is that Case says the 26 horsepower, 5,200 pound small frame SL23 with its 4,300 pounds of lifting capacity is its most popular model to date. That is likely due to the pairing of that low horsepower number, small size, but ample capability. Moving on to Case's medium frame SALs, this category includes Case's 50 horsepower, 5,700 pound capacity SL27 and the new SL22 EV, a battery powered machine. Capable of charging in less than 2 hours and with typical run times of 5 to 6 hours, at 4,800 pounds the SL22 EV has less lifting capacity than the small frame SL23, but it comes with a full-size SAE coupler, allowing it to interface with any existing skid steer, compact track loader, and compact wheel loader attachments that you might already have. In fact, the SL22 and all of Case's models from the SL27 and upward have this full-size coupler. So basically the medium frames loaders and the large frame loaders all have this full-size coupler. If you're going for one of these small frame models, those are equipped with a CII coupler. Now the Case SAL lineup rounds out with its 2 large frame models, the 65 horsepower SL35TR and the 74 horsepower SL50TR. Both of these large frame SAL models have telescoping lift arms as standard, and they boast capability that really blurs the lines between SAL and compact wheel loader. The SL35TR has 5,500 pounds of lift capacity, while the SL50TR has 7,600 pounds. These are the 2 machines where Case's desire to really expand the appeal of this category of machine into construction and into serious heavy lifting and material handling applications really kind of comes into focus. Travel speeds are 18 miles per hour on the SL35TR and 21 miles per hour on the SL50TR. Now, that 21 miles per hour on the SL50TR, that makes this kind of the quickest machine of all the machines that we're going to look at today. Meanwhile, lift heights on these machines stretch to 170 inches on the SL35TR and 171 inches on the SL50TR. Case also sees opportunity with the SL27 machines and up, the medium frame and large frame, in agricultural applications like large cattle ranches, where lots of material like feed needs to be moved around very quickly. Okay, so we're gonna round out our look at brands with Vermeer. Now, Vermeer's entries into the SAL segment are really focused on its customers in the tree care, landscaping, and general construction industries with a heavier focus on the tree care. Like Bobcat, Vermeer really sees the primary advantage of these machines as combining multi-tool flexibility with low ground disturbance. In fact, Vermeer sees its SALs much in the same way as it sees its tracked stand-on mini skid steers, and that's not uncommon, but it does. It sees them as very complementary, a natural tool carrier addition to support, its other products like stump cutters and to feed its brush and tree chippers. Now, Vermeer's 4-model SAL lineup can really be broken into 2 categories based on horsepower. The 25 horsepower Kubota engine models, the ATX 530 and ATX 720, and the 57 horsepower Kohler engine models, the ATX 850 and ATX 960. Now, Vermeer says the 25 horsepower models account for the majority of its sales, while the larger models, available with enclosed cabs and air conditioning and heat, are geared for more production-centric environments where speed, power, and comfort are going to be key. Now, Vermeer says the ATX 530 shines as a machine that matches a very compact unit with good hydraulic performance. It's got 13.2 gallons per minute of hydraulic flow, and that will capably power hydraulic attachments like trenchers and brush mowers that really need to continuously run. If you move up to the ATX 720, that brings on the extra lift capacity that we mentioned before, getting you to around 2,000 pounds of capacity. However, the ATX 720 is geared toward those who need the extra lifting power, but it comes at the expense of hydraulic power. The ATX 720 does not match the ATX 530's hydraulic capability. The ATX 530 has 13.2, as we said before, and this ATX 720 has 9.8 gallons per minute. As you kind of progress upward through this lineup, each model represents an increase in rated operating capacity of about 600 pounds. Rated operating capacity on the 2,800 pound ATX 530 is 1,300 pounds, while the largest machine, the 4,700 pound ATX 960, boasts 3,300 pounds of capacity. Now, when you move up to the high end of the lineup, the ATX 850, you're now into the 57 horsepower machines, and these are going to be aimed at more demanding material handling tasks. The ATX 850 is the fastest SAL in Vermeer's lineup, topping out at 18 miles per hour with 2,500 pounds of lift capacity. However, this total lift capacity can actually climb closer to 3,000 pounds depending on the counterweight you outfit this machine with. Now, Vermeer says the ATX 850 shines on sites where moving large items quickly is a priority, places like nurseries. There's kind of another similarity here in kind of like the smaller model having something that the larger model doesn't have on this half of the lineup. Kind of like how the 530 had better hydraulic capability than the 720, the 850 is faster than the ATX 960. But the ATX 960, as the biggest model in the lineup, boasts the most hydraulic flow at 25 gallons per minute and the highest rated lift capacity at roughly 3,600 pounds, and again, depending on the counterweight you outfit the machine with. All right, so closing things out here on SALs, what we hope you see at this point is that these machines can be really great ways to unlock extra productivity and revenue with a very specific solution. They're machines that give you compact wheel loader like lifting and carry benefits, but in a footprint smaller than a lot of skid steers. But how do you know which SAL is right for you when it comes time to buy or rent one of these machines? Well, for starters, one way to whittle down your options would be to consider what industry you're in or what job you're looking to use this machine for. Looking at the brands that we discussed here, Vermeer and Bobcat are definitely focused on the small to medium size class of machine, which makes total sense as that is where the majority of the demand for these machines lies. While Bobcat is catering mostly to grounds maintenance and landscaping, Vermeer has focused its machines primarily on being complementary to its tree care customers' business. So if you're in either of those spaces, landscaping or tree care, you might want to start with one of these 2 brands. Meanwhile, Avant and Case have much larger lineups catering to customers really across industries. Avant is the pioneer in this segment. They have a dedicated following of customers. They have a huge library of attachments that are available today. Meanwhile, Case is the SAL upstart, and they're looking to translate this machine's flexibility more specifically to construction and general construction users. So if you're looking to buy from a brand that has a large SAL lineup, to make sure you can really pick a specific model with the exact specifications that you need, or if you need a large attachment, kind of like selection, or like with the case machines where they have the full size couplers, if that's something that's important to you where you could use your existing skid steer attachments and CTL attachments, I'd start with one of these two brands. So zooming out a bit to more general advice for SAL buying and renting, you just need to go through the usual job and job site questions. What are you loading and unloading? How much will those materials weigh? How fast would you like to move it? Do you need a counterweight? How high would you like to reach? What surfaces will you be operating on? What size limitations do you have for job sites? Is there indoor work, or do certain projects have noise and emissions restrictions? Battery-powered machine is probably a good option. Look for one of those. How often will crews be moving from job site to job site? So how important does kind of like trailerability or transportation without a CDL become? And again, the thing to keep in mind here is that thanks to features like telescoping lift arms, along with the addition of larger, more powerful models at the top of the Avant and Case lineups, you can really today spec out an SAL that packs quite a bit of punch, even in production environments. We didn't get into all of the specific weights and dimensions of these machines here, but you should really take a look at the spec sheets. All of these models that we've talked about today have spec sheets available online, and then you should really kind of head out to your local dealer and see one of these machines in person, have a seat in the cab. My feeling is that, the first time I remember seeing the L23 and L28, I was really surprised by their size. My feeling is that the first time you see one of these machines in person, their size is likely going to surprise you as well. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up our look here on small articulated loaders, a really interesting segment that's heating up within the compact equipment industry. Speaking of compact equipment, we need you to do two things. If you're here with us on the YouTube channel, we need you to hit the like button if you found this video useful in your research for your next rental or purchase of a machine. Also, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications so you get the little ding whenever we put out new content like this for you to watch. Also, if you haven't been there already, if you're on YouTube and you've never been to our website, check us out at compactequip.com. There's a ton more kind of constant coverage of the compact equipment segment that you'll find on that website to also assist you in your next purchase or rental. Again, thank you so much for watching. We always appreciate the time, guys. We will see you in the next one.